I've lived in this community. My mother and father moved to this community the year I was born, 1944. And when they moved in, they were welcomed by the Oak Grove Methodist Church down there, Mr. and Ms. Charlie Wade, who was a pillar of this community at the time, and that's where we went to church. But I had a friend, my best friend in high school was Linda Cantrell, and her daddy, Mr. Ed Cantrell, was a deacon here. And I would come to Bible school. We would come to revival too, when they would have revival here. As time went on, eventually, when I was married to Henry and we moved kind of back to this community, I had left the community for a while, we started coming to church here, and that was about 41 years ago. And never once have I ever even considered leaving this church. Ed Windsor was the pastor, and he is still living. They live at Emerson. He and his wife, she played the piano, and one of her small children, one of the small ones, the baby, would sit by her on the piano stool while she played. She was about 3 or 4 years old. And yes, I have a list at home of all the different pastors that have been here since I've been here, but I don't know that one really stands out more than the other. We was running Ladd's Farm Supply, and we knew a lot of the farmers and a lot of the people that came to church here. Like I say, Mr. Ed Cantrell, Mr. Daniel Tilley, they were pillars of this community. And I can remember, you know, we had, at that time we were in the old church, and we would have like candlelight services and have the kerosene lamps and stuff, and you know, on certain days, certain times of the year, we would wear our bonnets and our long dresses, and that was a lot of fun. And he loved this church. My husband loved this church, and he just never faltered. You know, he was here every Sunday, every time the church doors open. Well, that back wall back there in the fellowship hall, it's not bricked. His goal was that we would one day take that wall out and put a new life center back there, a gymnasium, stuff for the young people, and that even eventually we would build a big church up there on the hill. We have David and Dawn, and David comes back pretty often, David and Ellen. And then we have Dawn, which was his daughter, but they're all my kids. And we have Stacy, who was my child before we married, and Ladd, who is our child. And he was a baby when we started the church here. He's 42 now. When Randy Postdale was here, the church was full. Well, even before that, when Todd Chester was here, he was a young preacher, and he was here at the time we built the new church. And we had a, I guess you would call it a grand opening like, and the church was full. I know one of our ladies went in labor and had to go to the hospital during our first ceremony here, and her husband did the soundtrack. And Todd, the preacher, he looked up there and he said, "Bruce, why are you still here? Your wife's in labor." But he stayed, and then when the service was over, he went on to the hospital. The love is the one thing, the love of each other, the love of the Lord, and just walking in here every day. I mean, if I miss church, I'll say, you know, I had to miss church. And when I come to church, I don't say I have to go to church. I have to say, oh, I get to go to church today. I love it here. And I love the people, and I love the Lord, and I think He's got His hand on us, and He's seen us through a lot, and He'll continue to see us through.
And I got up one Sunday morning, I said, "We're not driving over there." She said, "Okay." I said, "We'll go down here to Utah Hardy Baptist." So she said, "Sure, that's what you want to do?" And I said, "Yeah." So we came down here. I walked up to that door, opened the door, it's like I had a hand on my back being pushed in. I've been here for 21 years and I have no thoughts of ever leaving. We've had our ups and downs and, you know, normal church stuff. But good Lord had me here, and He's always had my back. He's always led me, you know. The people here, I love them. Brother Henry, Miss Tina's husband, him and I become best friends. When I came here, we constructed this little pavilion up here, and we just, whatever the church needed, we tried to provide at that time. And we did a lot of repairs down here in church. I've always been on the repair side. I went to the youth, started working with the youth, and we had somewhere around 60 kids at one time. We got to go on our mission trips, taking the kids to different youth camps, doing repairs, you know, and fellowshipping with the kids. We grew with them, they grew with us. They wanted to be with us. They wanted to be with us adults. And you know, every time we had something going on, they wanted to be there. And it's, you know, it's something that I really missed, that we don't have the youth that we had. I hope to see youth come back into the church. I mean, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old kids up, see them come back into church, and hopefully that we, with our knowledge that we have of the past and what's went up and down, that we teach them the difference in it, how to cope with that, how to cope with what's going on outside, how to cope with what's going on in their world. We as adults and as Christian adults can do that. Do the best you can, reach out the best you can, and reach those that are a little bit younger than you are, and you know, show them what you've done, what you're capable of doing, as to what they're capable of doing, of being younger than you are.
Sure.
I like for us to be known as a church of love and mercy, a church that wants to serve our community, a church that's going to be an anchor point, if I can put that right. It's an anchor point for those in need. Live in harmony, live in love of Jesus. Don't worry about everybody else, what they say or what they don't say. Worry about God and His message to you. His message is to you to serve Him. Serve your church faithfully. Love your brothers and sisters. Love your pastor.